Hey guys, Cindy Williams here from careersonvacation.com. We're live streaming this morning to talk about an amazing topic. You guys know, if you've been following my Insta or my Facebook or my YouTube, we went to VidCon in June. So VidCon, for those of you who don't know, is the video conference of the year. It was actually originally started as a YouTube convention way back in 2010. And VidCon has really evolved to include a ton of different platforms. So everybody is there. We're talking Facebook, Insta, YouTube, of course, Snapchat, Twitch, everybody, LinkedIn, Pinterest, all the social media guys are there because everybody, hey Christine, good morning. If you guys are popping in, if you have questions about social media in general, throw your question in. We'll definitely try to get those answered during today's live stream. But VidCon started way back in 2010. It's evolved to this mega convention where every year we go because our job at Careers on Vacation is to make sure you guys are up on the trends, and we consult with a lot of travel agents and a lot of travel agency owners to grow and supersize their travel businesses. So we are, one, I freaking love marketing, but two, we always have to be on top of the trends, what's changing, what's happening in the marketplace, and then how do we translate that for our industry, right, for travel. So that's why we go to VidCon, because it's amazing. So we actually had industry passes this year, which were super cool. So, and if you guys ever go, I highly suggest go the industry route, because VidCon, while it's very informative and you learn a ton of information, there are about 8 million teeny boppers there. So there's different levels of passes that you can purchase. There's the community level, which is kind of like the kids just go and hang out and they see their stars on the big stage. And then there's a creator level for people who are starting to build content online. And then there's the industry level for people like us that actually run businesses, consult, and do all that good stuff. But when you have an industry pass, you get to walk past this line of thousands of teeny boppers in the morning and boom, go right up to the third floor and get right into your sessions. So VidCon was amazing again this year. So much information, so much. We literally took, I have like 3 of these notebooks, just like pages and pages and pages of notes. I have them all over the place. So I took a ton of notes, and what I wanted to do, I can't get through all of this during one live stream, but I pulled out what are the top 3 things that I can share with you guys that will help you understand social media a little bit better and things you can do in your business right now to really start growing. Hey Steph, hey Faye, thanks for joining. So my number 3, we're gonna go 3, 2, 1. 1 being the most important. My number 3 takeaway from VidCon is you don't need to do it all. Oh my gosh, take a deep sigh. We can take a breath. I know you guys get overwhelmed. It's so easy to get overwhelmed because you're like, oh my God, there's Snapchat, there's Twitter. Am I supposed to do Pinterest? Should I be working on LinkedIn? What should I be doing on YouTube? It can blow your mind and it can overwhelm you to the point where you're like, I just give up because I don't know what I'm doing, and there's so much and it's so complicated. So you don't have to do it all. That's my number 3 takeaway from VidCon. And it was said over and over again. The consultant said, look, and the guy's put in place, it says, whatever you do in your business building activities, pick 2 or 3 platforms and just really do them well. And that's really important. If you have a Twitter, for example, which is not one I actually recommend in our program because it doesn't get you a ton of business. But let's say you're doing Twitter. If you only update it once every 3 months, if people land on your Twitter or you're linked somewhere into your Twitter and there's no activity, they're going to think they're out of business, they're not active, nothing's happening. If you don't have time to keep your platforms updated and consistent, then that's one of those things where people will assume this must not be a relevant business. They're not, loading their social media feeds, so they're not active. So it is way better to pick 2 or 3 platforms and just really be good at those 2 or 3 platforms, okay? So that's number 1. So you can all sigh like, oh my gosh, okay, maybe it's not so overwhelming. Let's piece and chunk this. I only have to learn 2 to 3 now. So with that, keep that in mind. Consistency, though, is key. So let's say you pick Facebook as one of your platforms. If you're doing Facebook, you need to have really a methodical strategy on, okay, when am I going to update? Why am I updating? How am I kind of, getting this information out? Be consistent on your feeds. So whatever platforms you decide on, have a schedule that you're working on. We, in Cruise on Vacation, we give everyone like an activity planner, a marketing planner where, you know, we course out, this is what you should do on each platform, but think about that for yourself in your businesses. What's my cadence gonna be? My regular cadence on my social media platforms, okay? Show up and experiment. That's another thing. This is still in my top 3 takeaway with you don't need to do it all, but you do need to show up. You do need to try stuff. What connects with your audience might not be what connects with my audience. So that's one of those things where I heard a couple of people say this at VidCon. I loved it. They said, look, just throw the spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. Like, you have to get out there and experiment for a few things, because as you guys, each travel businesses are very unique and they're all custom. You might focus on groups or Disney or cruises or international tours or guided tours or however you're building your individual business. So as you start to, you know, cultivate this audience, you need to experiment. You need to try different things. So that's my number 3 takeaway. You don't have to do it all, but what you do, do it well. Okay. Hey Marcy, hey Mert, welcome. My number 2 takeaway from VidCon. So build and know your audience. You used to be able to, on most social media platforms, you could build an audience pretty quickly in an organic way. And when I say organic, I mean you're not spending a ton of money. So you can still do that. You can still get, you know, friends and family to like and share your stuff and build your pages. But it is getting harder and harder to do that organically on Facebook, YouTube, Insta, everywhere. So whichever platforms you're doing, you need to have some paid ads to build your audience. So growing your audience is really key, because that's your community that you build that bond and relationship with, and then ultimately you can make offers to for your travel business. So that process of running ads, testing ads, make sure that you think about, how am I going to build my audience this year? You know, how can I cross my audiences and introduce them? So if you have a big following on Facebook, how can you now introduce them on Instagram? So, but number 2 takeaway, we're going 3, 2, 1, is build and know your audience. So the first thing we talked about was building. Now, knowing your audience. Here's the thing, same thing as we talked about a few minutes ago. Your audiences are going to be different. Don't be surprised if they're different on each platform. The Insta demographics are way different than Facebook demographics, and also dependent on how you put your ad strategy together for each platform, you're going to end up with a different type of audience. But don't be scared by that. That's actually a good thing. You don't want cookie cutter, because then all your eggs are kind of in one basket. If you're only running your business off Facebook right now, what happens when Facebook changes their algorithm, which they did like 3 times last year? Then you're like, oh, you're skittling around going, I'm not getting the same, you know, response to my ads that I was, or not getting the same, you know, uptick in sales that I was getting. So that's the reason for being on 2 to 3 platforms, but also building your audiences out on each platform. It is perfectly okay if you have a different type of client following you on Instagram than you do on Facebook. But what your job as a business owner is really to understand at a deep level who your audience is on each platform, who they are, what they want to see from you, what type of content they're coming to your channel for. So you want to make sure that you are reaching out to those communities and doing things like polls, asking questions, going back and looking at your analytics. That's really important. How often do you go back and look at your Facebook analytics for either your ads, or if you have a business page, do you go back and look at your posts to see, wow, this post got 1,000 views, it got a ton of engagement. If you go back and understand what worked well, then you can see, oh, that's an indicator of what my audience likes to see from me. Let me replicate that in a different version. Let me stay in that vein for Insta or for Facebook. So those are some really specific things that you guys can do to kind of help cultivate those audiences, but you constantly have to be doing those check-ins with your audiences above and beyond just, let me throw some pictures up and see what's working. You have to grow your audience first, and then you have to know your audience, get to know your audience. Ask them, What do you guys want to see from me? You know, what do you tune into my channel most for? Run a poll. Hey, we're thinking about traveling these 5 places next year. What's going to be of most interest to you? So those are some cool things you can do. Hey, Caitlin, thanks for your comment. Yes, it is good info. I wish I had like 7 hours, and this, trust me, with all this crazy info we have, books and books, and I retyped all this into my computer over the weekend. It took me like 6 hours to retype all my notes from VidCon because we took so many great little nuggets away. So in number 2, and engaging your community. So the number, we're going 3, 2, 1. So we already talked about that you don't have to do it all. Pick 1 to 2 platforms, be consistent, have a strategy, show up and experiment. And the next one is really getting to start to build and know your audience. Once you know and understand your audience, you want to start engaging your audience. What do I mean by engagement? So how often are people sharing your stuff, commenting on your content? Those are things that are important, because not only is it important so you can continue to have that relationship with your audience, but it is absolutely 100% impacting how much your stuff is seen on every single platform. What do I mean by that? When you put out a post and it gets a ton of engagement in the first hour or 2, Facebook shows it to more people. So in case you guys don't know how, like Facebook, for example, in the algorithms, let's say you have a business page, okay? Let's say you have 1,000 people following your business page, and you put out a beautiful post about the best beaches in the world or something like that. And you're like, hey, best beaches in the world. What's your favorite beach in the world? If no one's responding to that post, then Facebook's like, yeah, it's not getting a lot of activity. So when you first do the post, Facebook tests it, sends it out to like maybe 200 or 300 of the people that are on your page. And if it's not getting a lot of activity, it kind of just lets it sit there. So you're not, when you put a post, it does not guarantee on a business page in Facebook that it is being seen by the 1,000 people that you have following your page. It doesn't work that way anymore. That's part of the changes with the algorithms last year. But if people are like, oh, I love Maui. Oh, I love the beaches in Dubai. Oh, I love the beaches here. And they're posting all over. Then Facebook's like, oh, this is getting some activity. Let me push it out to another 300 and another 200. And by the end of the day, maybe 60 or 70% of your audience is seeing that post. So there's no guarantee that people are going to see your stuff. That's why engagement is so important. And that engagement piece is on Insta, it's on Facebook, it's on LinkedIn, it's on YouTube, it's in all these different platforms. So that is why the step before this, we talked about getting to know your audience. If you put stuff out that people don't care about, they're not commenting, they're not sharing, things like that. That's why you have to experiment. And it's not a perfect science, because you guys run different businesses and they're all custom. There is a little experimentation that needs to happen in that piece. But once you get that engagement into a rhythm, or you're at least getting good engagement on several posts every week, then you know a larger amount of the community is seeing your stuff online on your platforms. So that's a really good one from an engagement perspective. So now we are getting into my number 1 takeaway from VidCon, the one you guys have all been waiting for. So a lot of you are doing good stuff on Facebook, and you have maybe some traction happening there. How many of you are on Instagram and active on Instagram and know what you're doing on Instagram? My number 1 takeaway is you need to get to know, love, and get really good at Instagram. So I'm going to tell you why. Instagram just hit 1 billion users. 1 billion users. They are quickly approaching to go neck and neck with Facebook for popularity, and they're even saying they're probably going to overtake it this year in terms of popularity. Some of you are on Instagram, some of you aren't, but you need to get clear on your vision for Instagram. The other thing about the 1 billion users is 500 million are active every day. Half of Instagram's users are active every day on their platform. You know, the analysts say right now how it's working is people get up and they check their Facebook. They get up and then right after they check their Facebook, they check their Instagram. So that's the process. And for the younger demographics, it's they check their Instagram and then they check their Facebook. And so it's very important as I translate this data from a travel industry expert perspective and a consultant to our clients at Careers on Vacation and to you guys as our community is, what does that mean for travel? Instagram is a no-brainer for travel. Instagram is a lifestyle platform. It is a super visual platform. What goes hand in hand with visual and lifestyle? Travel, what we do every single day. So it's a beautiful marriage. Instagram and the travel industry is a beautiful, beautiful marriage, and there's so much opportunity with Instagram right now that you might be missing the boat. A lot of your competitors are using it. A lot of our clients that consult with us, they're learning those strategies and putting them in place. But I want to give you some good tips today too. So things you need to know about Instagram. People are spending more and more minutes and time on Instagram every day. So the time that they're spending on the platform, kind of like if you did the math on how much time you spend on social media, like how long, like I know we have a couple businesses. So we're on social media every day. Like sometimes I have to just turn the phone off and go, oh my God, I feel like I'm getting sucked into a virtual reality here. But if you guys calculate the time that you spend on Facebook or the time that you spend on Instagram, every single day, that's what they have all those stats, right? You can even go on your Facebook analytics and look at your business page and see when your people have the most engagement, what day of the week, what hours, everything. So when we talked about analytics earlier, but in terms of the time, just think about how much time you spend on social media. Like, oh, the kids went to bed, I have an hour to myself. Are you watching TV or are you checking your Instagram, Facebook? So the consumers are here. They are right here. What are you doing to reach them, right? So on Instagram, if you don't know and love it already, make sure that you're getting to know that. Some other tips for Instagram that are important, and this is probably the biggest one that there was a lot of like talk about at VidCon, but video is going vertical. What do I mean by that? Exactly what I said. So when you're on YouTube, you're watching your video like this, right? When you're on Instagram, all the new IGTV, if you haven't seen it yet, you're watching it in a vertical format. What does that mean to you as a business owner and creator? Well, let me translate. Your videos need to be made in vertical. So now if you're doing videos and you were like, oh, da, 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 right? Now you need to hold your phone vertical. And the kind of sucky part about it for us is right now, Facebook is pretty much still horizontal. So you can't very easily share the same video unless you, like I have a workaround because we do a lot of editing stuff, but if you film something going this way, you can't just go load it up to IGTV. It's not going to work. So if you're thinking about exploring into IGTV and or making videos in general, even if you put videos on your normal feed in Instagram, you have to do vertical. So, and brings me to the next one, IGTV. Have you guys heard about it? Have you seen it? Have you used it? Definitely something that you need to know about. And the reason why is with Instagram, we actually met with the architects that were putting Instagram together. They had an amazing session. They're like, look, here's how everything's laid out. Here's what we're trying to do for you guys as business owners, as creators, the environment we want you to interact in with Instagram. So first, most of you are familiar with the general feed page on Instagram where you have people have pictures, they put comments or hashtagging things. So you have the pictures that rotate in and out. And some people update that every day. Some people update it once a week. You know, that's one of those things that we talked about earlier. Decide what your cadence is going to be and then have that regular schedule for Instagram. So you have your regular feed. The second piece to Instagram is they have stories. If you haven't used that, that's been around for a little bit longer. And now the new thing that actually launched while we were at VidCon was IGTV. So the reason IGTV, like, oh, Cyndi, what's the difference? All this crap. So with Instagram, as it was in the old world, you could only load up to 15 seconds. So you're like, hey, this is Cyndi from Tripsy Travel, blah, blah, blah. You know, got to get your information out if you're making a video on Instagram. If you are wanting to do longer content, let's say you want to do a room tour, or you want to do, you know, travel tips or something like that, you can now do that on Instagram, but you have to do it by way of IGTV. So Instagram said, look, we want you guys kind of interacting with all these things, and doing all this stuff will also help your algorithm. So now you have all these different tools. And the last thing with Instagram that's really kind of cool to know is they're going to be putting a monetization model in place by the end of the year. What that means is they're going to give you a way as creators to monetize some of your content. So IGTV is really, really new. Like I said, it just launched back at the end of June when we were at the VidCon convention. So one of the questions we asked was like, what are you expecting to see from IGTV? And they said, we want to lay it out there as a tool, and we don't want to tell people what to do. We want to see what you guys as creators and business owners are going to take it and run with it, and what you're going to create and what you're going to put out in the world. So really cool opportunity, because not a lot of people are doing it yet. So that's kind of a neat one to kind of get in there and check out. So videos, vertical, talked about IGTV. Know that your Instagram audience is going to be totally different from your Facebook audience. We touched on that earlier, but Instagram audiences are way more fickle. There's a lot of follow, unfollow that happens. Don't freak out if that happens to you as you're like building your audience. So if you're building from an organic perspective, it's going to take a long time. It's not like a few years ago where you could do stuff and know all the ins and outs and you could get hundreds of followers every month from, you know, just organic posting. You can still get a good amount from doing organic posting if you know what you're doing, if you know how to use hashtags, and you know how to, if you really have your content dialed in terms of what your audience wants and you're getting engagement, you can still do some of it for free organically. But a lot of people are doing more ads to say, hey, this is me, let me introduce you to my page. So ads can help you grow your audience as well, and that's another thing to think about as you guys build your businesses. But the audience will be different. So don't be freaked out, because look, if you want people following you that have that connection with you, your ultimate goal is to sell them a travel package and to work with them with travel. So you want people that have that connection with you. If they landed on your page and for some reason they're not connecting, just good riddance, wish them well, that's fine. Keep working at it. Don't change you to fit somebody else's mold, because that's never going to work. You're never going to be able to be Cyndi Williams, just like I'm never going to be able to be you. So you have to take what you have, what you're selling, and make sure it's an authentic extension of your business and who you are. And that's going to resonate with a certain audience and population, and that's what you want to do. Now, in your streamlining your ads and making them, you also want to make sure you're connecting with high-end clients that have money that can buy your travel packages. That's another marketing conversation. But in terms of the core assets, the Instagram, the demographics, the millennials, and I went to a lot of sessions on this because I really want to make sure we're understanding the millennial audience. And what I love, people want to whine and complain about millennials all the time. I don't have a problem with millennials. Like, they're fast, they make good decisions, they make decisions quickly. Yes, they use tech to make decisions and things like that. But what I love about millennials is they really care about the value of a company from the perspective of what does the company stand for. So back in the 80s, it was like, oh, come up with some slick marketing, a pretty picture of a cruise, and we'll sell you a travel package. In today's environment, they want to say, who is this company? What are they about? What do they stand for? Which I think is a beautiful thing, because this is hey, Michelle Graham, how are you? So I think that's such a beautiful thing, because whatever is in your heart to say in the world and your greatest expression for your life can extend into your business. So really evolving your business model to understand, what does my company stand for? What are our, guiding principles? And sharing that and getting clear on putting that in the messaging of your story for your company, that is a ticket to connecting to the millennial audience. And again, you don't do something that's fake, do something that's real to you. Like, I have a real love of children. One of the things we do with our kids every year is we have, if you guys heard of the shoebox, I can't think of the name, but I'll link it below. It's where, so every year we order these shoe boxes and we fill them up with gifts for children who they're not going to get anything for Christmas, and they send them all over the world. But we have a certain amount of boxes that we do, and my kids and I will go out, we'll go shopping for them. We'll fill the boxes, but what I love about it is you can send the boxes and you can put the tracker online and you can follow your box and see where it ended up going in the world. So from a travel perspective, I think it's fun to do with my kids. It also teaches them about giving to others, but that's something that we do in our personal lives that I haven't yet incorporated on the business side, but that is something that would be great to share, because what if by way of me sharing that and letting people know that we're excited and we're doing those things, other people do it too, or they're like, oh, this is what this company stands for in some, in some fashion in terms of their values. So think about those things that are already a piece of you that you do and are, how you authentically get yourself into your business. A lot of people are like, I just want slick pictures and I don't want to show my face anywhere. I don't want to talk about things. So that's going to work to a certain degree, but to really connect past into that next level audience, that's a really good way to do that. So think about what do you want your company to stand for? What do your values say? How are you sharing that in your storyline? How are you involving that in your marketing as you go forward to really say, here's who we are, here's what we do, and get involved, join the movement, join the community. So that's a difference in Instagram, because the demographics are a little bit younger and you're dealing more with those millennials. Let's see, what else would I have here? Oh, don't expect the same audiences on each platform. So how you market on Instagram might be totally different than how you market on Facebook or other platforms. So just know, follow those steps that we said earlier with just doing some experimentation, thinking about what you want to get out there in terms of your business. So to kind of recap, for those of you who joined midpoint, I want to just go through top 3 again. So we talked through number 3, don't try to do it all. You don't have to do it all. Pick the platforms you're going to do and just be really good at it. Be consistent, right? Do them well. Number 2, takeaway from VidCon. Build and get to know your audiences and engage them. You have to build your audience. That may require some marketing dollars on your marketing budget. So growing your audiences, and then once you grow your audience, or as you're growing your audience, stay connected to knowing your audience. What do they want to see from me? What are they expecting? What's most helpful to them in terms of building this online relationship? Number 3, Instagram needs to be part of your plan. Get to know it, love it. It's not going away. You need to get good at it. You can follow me at Wanderlust CEO on Instagram, by the way, so definitely check that out. We do some additional trainings over there. Like I said earlier, videos going vertical, so those trainings are in vertical that we're going to be putting over there. And remember, guys, we're talking about social media today, but social media is only one piece of your marketing pie. When we teach businesses how to grow the most, you can't do, just like we said, you can't put everything in Facebook, because what if their algorithm changes? Social media is a big piece of the pie these days, because you have to reach people where they are on their phones, but it's not the only piece of your marketing plan. So as you're growing your marketing strategy, you have to have other marketing that's going on. You need to plan that out on an annual basis, at least 3 months at a time is what we recommend. But remember, you can't just do social media as you're growing your business. And look, I know a lot of this can be overwhelming because it's a new, brave world. You guys aren't just running a travel agency. If you're really going to get good at this and you're really going to get the place where you're, making that 6-figure income on a consistent basis and continuing to grow and supersize your travel business, you need to operate in today's landscape. And that means you need to be running an online business. Your travel agency is an online business. You are in this world, like it or not. If you're struggling with leads or getting lead flow, I guarantee it's as a result of something in your marketing that needs to be tweaked, adjusted, or kind of, altered in some way. You have to market in any business, but in travel. So if you're not marketing, your business will, you're going to have that recurring business. If you're a great agent, a great agency, there's a part of that you can always depend on. But as your clients age, or they have babies, they might not be traveling this year, or someone loses a job, whatever you booked last year, you can't do no marketing and expect the same result this year, because not everyone's going to travel again to the same degree that they did the year before. It's not a guarantee. So you always have to be replacing part of your base in terms of your customers. And if you want to grow, you need to be doing marketing to invite new people to your business. How do we invite new people and get them in and engaged and get them to know you? So don't let it overwhelm you. Hopefully this session was helpful today. But remember, if you guys are struggling with this stuff, check out our program, careersonvacation.com, or take my free masterclass. It's totally free. It's an hour of your time, and it goes way deeper into other subjects beyond social media. So that's at careersonvacation.com/masterclass, and that will tell you if you're thinking about getting into the industry, things you need to do. But if you're already a great agent doing a few $100,000 a year, but you want to get to that, level where you're doing a lot more, give you some great tools and resources there too. So I hope you guys liked our live stream. And remember, we're going to be doing live streams every week at 10 a.m. Central, talking about different topics. And we're going to have guests in the near future. We have some amazing people lined up for August and September that we're going to share the stage with me here at Careers on Vacation. And as always, I wish you guys so much love and abundance. Have an amazing weekend. Bye, guys.